This panda's first birth was captured on camera, and the caretakers were stunned as the animal stood up. Because of their attractive, lively, and goofy personalities, as well as their cuddly, furry looks, pandas are among the most adored bear species in the world. Even though millions of individuals adore this wonderful animal, poaching and deforestation has seriously threatened the species. As a result, zoos all over the globe strongly urge conservation efforts to help increase their numbers. It was via one of those conservation efforts that something incredible occurred. Atlanta Zoo in Georgia decided to try to have one of its giant pandas conceive in 2013. Lin, a female who was 16 at the time, was ideal for the task because she has already delivered 3 healthy offspring. Zoo staff had to consider what would happen if the female bear was impregnated, even if that was the intention. It's a challenging circumstance since pandas were known to also have extremely low fertility rates, and because there's just a very small viable window of 2 days per year during which female bears can get pregnant. Veterinarians continuously check the female panda's urine to determine when their hormone levels are at their highest. Allowing the male and female pandas to mate organically was also a choice that had to be made. According to Rebecca Schneider, at the time the veterinarian of primates at the Atlanta Zoo, caged pandas are usually uncertain of how to appropriately mate. You only have one chance to try each year, according to her. To ensure that the female has the highest possibility of having a baby, many keepers choose to employ artificial insemination. In 2013, zookeepers in Atlanta chose to employ this technique. The crew utilized the DNA of Lin and Yang Yang, who was a 15-year-old male panda who had already sired 3 more offspring. After the treatment was over, keepers closely monitored her with the expectation that she might begin to exhibit indications of pregnancy. Sadly, pandas are susceptible to developing phantom or fox pregnancies, which means that when they are not pregnant, their behaviors and hormones might change to give the appearance of being pregnant. Elaine Valentine oversaw the program for giant pandas at a zoo in the United Kingdom and notes that these animals have complicated biology because of the phantom pregnancy component. Hormones cannot be used as a predictor for conception in pandas. To be as thorough as possible, veterinarians opted to do an ultrasound on the female panda to determine whether or not she was expecting. Once the female bear's pregnancy was verified, keepers and veterinarians took care to keep a close eye on her every single day to ensure her well-being and attempt to prevent a miscarriage. Zoos need to be aware of when they could be expecting a new birth because it might take anywhere between 3 and 6 months. Before she was ready to give birth, Lin had been expecting for around 4 months. Within these 4 months, the impending mother panda started eating less food. This is a fairly typical sign of panda pregnancy. In addition, Lin started tearing the bamboo that was provided to her within her cage into tiny pieces to create a nest rather than eating it. To keep off dampness and cold, pregnant pandas in nature line their nests with materials like chipped wood, birch trees, or young seedlings and twigs from bamboo or rhododendron. 1 month even before the female panda gave birth, caretakers at Atlanta Zoo decided to put up a panda camera monitor cam. It was at this moment that Lin started to build her habitat, and the crew understood it wasn't going to be long before the baby appeared. This made it possible for both the personnel and the public to keep a close eye on Lin day and night. Eventually, on July 15, 2013, Lin began labor. The female panda sat down in her nest and started giving birth. A little brave, blind youngster was born shortly after. Everything was caught on video. Leaning back against the cage wall and enthusiastically starting to care for her infant, the mother panda took up her cub right away and proceeded to lick it clean. The crew, however, had no idea what was about to happen. The mother panda was tending to her new offspring when she abruptly started hunching down and pushing once again. A second baby was delivered a short while afterward. The panda's scan revealed that she was indeed pregnant. They failed to discover that she was carrying 2 cubs, and on a Saturday at 7:20 and 8:07 a.m., 2 small pandas were born. Although giant panda twins are frequent, they are more vulnerable to disease and mortality than cubs who are born alone. Additionally, a mother panda may occasionally abandon one of her cubs in favor of nurturing the other. Caretakers would need to intervene and try to care for the newborn panda personally if this occurred. Fortunately, Lin started to take care of the 2 of her newborns, suggesting that this wasn't the case. Our attention will now be on the monitoring and treatment of the babies and Lin to guarantee that the 2 cubs have had the best chance to grow, the animal firm's vice president, Haley Murphy, said in a statement issued at the time. Early tests on the 2 newborn bears who were given the names My Loon and My One revealed that the gender of the pair had been incorrectly determined. The zoo opted to do DNA testing on many of these bears, such as these babies who were numerous when they were months old, because they wanted to be completely confident of the gender of all their pandas, since it would aid in future breeding. On December 13, 2013, Zoo Atlanta published a story stating that the survey discovered that they were all female. This information raised the intriguing potential that a large panda species might be capable of recovering more quickly than conservationists had anticipated. Since there was a higher likelihood of conceptions and births with more females present, they were maintained at Atlanta Zoo, which is where they are housed today. Ideally, they will produce offspring going forward to aid in repopulating the number of giant pandas. Regarding Lin Lin, she later gave birth to another pair of twins in 2016.